All right, young people, young scholars of European history, this is our assessment for the Spanish Civil War unit. And this is the only thing that's part of this week's folder. My only um, fear is that you'll put it off and try to do it at the last minute. Please don't do that. You're going to be really stressed out. So make a choice, start on it right away, and chip away at it every day this week, and it won't be overwhelming. If you wait and put it off, though, then that's a problem. So, first thing you should do today, once you see this, is make a choice. Choice one is to be more creative. I talked about a little bit about this in class. Okay, so if you make choice one, you're using your more creative side. And even if you have another idea, you can run it by me, but here are just two ideas that you can do. So first is to create a Twitter feed. The objective of this is to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding of the causes, practices, and effects of the Spanish Civil War through the use of a social networking template. And here is a link to a Twitter generator. And you will be, if you choose this, you'll be generating tweets and then copying and pasting those tweets onto a separate Google Doc. The depth of those tweets is important, and here's what needs to be covered. So you'll use a Twitter template to create a series of status updates that show an understanding of the following aspects of the Civil War: the causes of it, the pretext, short-term, long-term, immediate causes, in as much depth as you can. Second, the nature and course of the war, how it was fought, how it progressed, parts of it that were conventional, parts that were preemptive, the important battles that we covered or that we talked about or that you read about, that you even saw in the film, all of those things, the nature and course of the war. The third thing, the quality of the leadership of the protagonists. Fourth, why the winners won or why the losers lost. Fifth, the effects and consequences of the war. And then sixth, the significance, the overall significance, not just in Spain, but as the fascists win, what is the significance for the rest of Europe? This is a 45-point project. Points are going to be assigned for each of those components, as well as creativity and quality. This is a link to the rubric. Look at it and pay particular attention to what it takes to score in the exemplary category. You'll see some specifics. I'm not going to tell you how many tweets to make. The hints or the pathway to that knowledge is through this rubric. So look at the rubric. Ask questions if you're not sure. But that's one option, is to complete a Twitter project. Here's what it would look like. Something like this is just a sampling of what it would look like. Second, write a children's story. The only thing that I'll mention is in this note here. This is, by the way, this is from Mr. Anderson. He's been doing this project for quite a while. He came up with it. He's a lot more technologically advanced than I am. These are ideas that you can use, but this particular project, if you choose to write a children's story, just recognize that these topics, the rise of fascism, the war itself, 500,000 people die, these aren't funny. You can certainly make light of some parts of it, but at the same time, you really got to be careful how you do this. Because these are serious topics and have significant consequences. The things to copy within this children's story, and you can write your own, or you can use a format of characters, like these are some things that have been done in the past. Dora the Explorer, Clifford, or Goodnight Moon, whatever. You can certainly do that, or you can completely write your own. I don't necessarily care. Topics or components to cover are the same: causes, the nature and course of the war, quality of leadership, why the winners won or why the losers lost, the effects and or consequences the results of it, and the overall significance to European history. So similar content written in a different way. Again, look at that rubric. The points are the same, also a 45-point project, but make sure that you look at the rubric and pay particular attention to the exemplary mark band. What will it take to score in that at that level? Okay, those are a couple ideas using your creativity. It's not the only thing that you can do, but it is or are some choices. If you have another idea, talk to me. Maybe we can come up with something. But these are two pretty good models. All right. Now, if you aren't feeling creative, you can complete choice 2. Choice 2 asks to complete 2 tasks. One is about a blog that you would listen to and write about. And a second is writing an essay. So there's 2 parts to it. So let's look at those. So the first is the blog or podcast that you would listen to and write a blog. I don't even know what these words mean, quite frankly. I'm sure you guys know more than I do. But this is what it would take. So task 1, the podcast, the blog, whatever you want to call it. Here's a link to a podcast about the Spanish Civil War from the BBC called In Our Time, the Spanish Civil War. This is the link to it. This is how to get on it. And this podcast features some prominent Spanish Civil War historians, Paul Preston, Helen Graham, and Dr. Mary Vincent. They discuss the topics that are necessary for the other project. They discuss the causes, the practices, the results of it. And as you listen, you'll be recording your thoughts on each section. So as you listen to the podcast, keep a blog of your thoughts and ideas regarding each section. What you offer is up to you, but if you're struggling on what to write, here are some possible guiding questions. What did you learn that you didn't know before? What did you find interesting about that section? What are points or what points are being made? Are there any discrepancies or disagreements between the historians? That's particularly significant if you're going to write further on something like this. Or the last one, what questions do you have now that you've listened? So there are 8 sections, and it amounts to about 40 minutes, broken down into 8, roughly 5 to 10 minute sections. And these are the sections, and you'll write your responses right in here as you go along. Okay, so that's your blog or you're recording your thoughts on each of those 8 sections using these guiding questions if you need to. That's one part of it. The second part of it is to write an essay. So you'll be completing 2 parts. This is the second part if you choose the choice 2. The second task, you'll complete an essay on the Spanish Civil War. And this is throughout the year, we've been working and focusing on writing a strong introductory paragraph. Now you'll complete the process. You'll be writing a strong introduction that provides context, that states the question, that states a thesis, that you take a position, that you're making an argument, and a plan for how you're going to prove it in that introductory paragraph. Then you're going to spend, it depends on how many points you're going to be making to support your thesis. It could be 2 body paragraphs. It could be 4 body paragraphs. It doesn't necessarily matter, but it should match your plan. Your plan and your body paragraphs should match. Okay, so these are further development that use evidence from perhaps primary sources and analysis from historians like Paul Preston to prove or to provide a foundation for your argument to that question. Okay, I finished up with a strong conclusion that clearly answers the question. This should be double spaced, should be roughly 3 pages. Sometimes they go longer. You'll be surprised that when you write an essay in a way that has appropriate depth, that 3 pages is rather easy. Typically, you'll end up writing more like 4 or 5, but that's what it would look like. Here are your question choices. Number 1, the causes of the Spanish Civil War were peculiar to Spain, but the war soon acquired a European significance. How far do you agree with this assessment? Second choice, explain why Franco's forces won the Spanish Civil War and why the Republican forces lost. Or third, analyze the role that countries outside of Spain had on the course and the outcome of the Spanish Civil War. Your response to that would go below. So if you're choosing the second option, the blog or podcast and the essay, you'll just write those right in here. So your responses to those sections of the podcast will go here, and your essay will go below here. All right. If you have questions, if you need help, please just ask, and I will work with it through you. But this is an individual project. This isn't something that you're going to be doing with a partner. This is something that just you will be doing. All right. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.